This aircraft was used by legends, the Ghost of Kiev and most Ukrainian pilots. With the help of this aircraft, dozens and hundreds of enemy air targets have been destroyed. The MiG-29 held back the Russian onslaught at the beginning of the full-scale invasion and continues to help. And Ukrainian pilots, for their part, have proven that the age of the equipment doesn't matter when the aircraft is in skilled hands.
It was indeed quite delightful to hear that you absolutely fly out on a mission and then they send you a video where you destroyed an enemy air defense system. It's a very pleasant feeling. It's one of the best feelings you can have during the war.
But what kind of fighter is this? What upgrades has it received from Ukrainian developers? And how have Western allies breathed new life into the MiG-29? We'll tell you all about this and more in just a moment. The MiG-29 is a development of the Soviet Union. Its history began when the USA acquired brand new fighters and the USSR decided, of course, to join the arms race. The task was to create a heavy aircraft which eventually became the Su-27, as well as a light one. The MiG-29 was the result of work on the latter. The work on creating the MiG began in the late 1960s, and by the 1980s, the aircraft became the main multi-role fighter of the Warsaw Pact of the USSR. And even now, despite its age, many countries still have the MiG-29 in service. But to be honest, it's more out of necessity than great affection.
There is no possibility to replace it. Most countries would gladly replace it, like Serbia is doing now, right? They just continue to effectively operate it, but it's considered not very effective, and therefore that is why they purchased the French fighter Rafale.
After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine received 245 MiG-29 units. However, not all of them have survived to the present day, not to mention that many were faulty and could only be used for spare parts. And in 2014, the Russians occupied the Crimean Peninsula and the MiGs. Ukraine had even fewer. As of the start of the full-scale war, Kyiv had 43 combat aircraft and 8 training combat ones.
Most of them were upgraded to the level of MiG-29. This is the first stage of Ukrainian modernization. Well, it's quite sufficient. The modernization there, separate, included the radar, radio communication, the equipment. A system was installed, GPS, satellite navigation. No increase. In engine thrust occurred, the same engines remained. No, none. The armament composition remained absolutely unchanged. Therefore, the modernization only concerned the aircraft's equipment.
This modernization is also already aged. The improvements were developed in 2009. There was another attempt to modernize the MiG-29. They planned to upgrade the MiG-29 Mu-1, which was supposed to become the MiG-29 Mu-2. But in reality, improvements were only achieved during the full-scale war and with the help of allies. However, it's important to note that the main characteristics, such as the combat radius of 700 km, flight range of just over 1,400 km, and with external tanks 2,100 km, and a practical ceiling of 18 km, remained from the basic version.
The Mu-2 modification attack was also limited in nature and mainly concerned the equipment. What could have possibly been there as potentially maybe such a serious enhancement of combat capabilities, the ability to use bombs using the GPS system, guided bombs that would fall precisely and accurately according to coordinates.
To be honest, the MiG-29 is indeed an outdated fighter. Even Ukrainian pilots themselves say this. But there is one nuance. Western allies have managed to extend their lifespan.
The aircraft is somewhat outdated, and we cannot effectively counter modern enemy planes. We lack the current range and missile power to destroy. And the targeting system is quite old already. But thanks to advanced Western weaponry, this aircraft has undergone comprehensive modernization, and because of this, we can effectively use a variety of aerial munitions.
And we really do have something to shoot at the occupiers with.
We are currently using French guided bombs from the MiG-29s, Hammer, which hit targets precisely by coordinates, using GPS and satellite connections. And the same goes for the American JDAM and JDAM missiles of regular range and extended range.
Besides targeting enemy objects, the MiG's tasks also include intercepting missiles and drones, and it handles this successfully. However, it should be noted that the MiG-29 cannot shoot down all aerial targets.
They are not interceptor aircraft fighters. They cannot intercept in any possible scenario. Ballistic missiles. They can intercept cruise missiles, which are typical and common aerodynamic targets, such as, that is, they fly like a regular target, specifically subsonic. They can intercept, but this is not a stop. Intercept drones like Shahed. They can do this, but not ballistic missiles.
Moreover, the MiG-29, when piloted by Ukrainian pilots, can achieve the truly impossible. For example, shooting down a Russian Su-35 fighter jet. This has happened at least twice. To put it in perspective, the MiG-29 is a fourth-generation aircraft, whereas the Su-35 is a 4++ generation. Yes, and it is several decades newer. The first flight of the Su-35 was in 2008, and it only began to be operated in 2014. But does that really matter when there's a true ace at the controls? From all of the above, one can conclude that the MiG-29 should have long been retired. But what is truly impressive in this whole story is the skill of the Ukrainian pilots. They can do the impossible with old equipment, but also quickly learn to pilot the F-16, and in the future, the Gripens. The latter would greatly help Kyiv in defending our skies. Therefore, we hope that soon Griffins will also be in Ukraine. And when that happens, we will definitely tell you about it. In the meantime, like this video and write in the comments about which other weapons you would like to hear about. Also, subscribe to our new Arsenal channel. The link will be in the info under the video.